Ladies and gentlemen, time is the one thing that is never replenished once it's gone. It's gone forever. Each second that passes is a moment that we will never get back. And yet, many of us go through life taking this precious resource for granted. We waste time on things that don't matter. We procrastinate, and we don't fully appreciate the value of each passing moment today. I want to remind you of the importance of time, how you can make the most of it, and why it's crucial to stop wasting it. Time is the only resource in this world that cannot be replenished. Unlike money, which can be earned, saved, or invested, once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. This simple truth often escapes us because time feels like a never-ending flow. However, each passing second, minute, and hour is a one-way journey that leads to the future, and we can't turn back the clock. The moments we let slip by today are gone, never to return again. This is a critical concept to grasp because it highlights the scarcity of time in a way that nothing else can. Every day we make decisions on how to spend our time, and many of those choices go unnoticed or unexamined. But what happens when we spend time on activities that don't contribute to our goals, growth, or relationships? Time lost in idle pursuits is time we can never recover. Imagine if you spent the last 5 years doing something you now realize was a waste of time. How do you get those 5 years back? You can't. You only have the present moment to act. Think about the most important moments in your life, the times you achieved something significant or shared an unforgettable experience with someone. Those moments were precious, not just because of their emotional impact, but because they were limited in time. You couldn't repeat them. The value of these moments lies in their uniqueness, and that's the beauty and the tragedy of time. What makes something memorable is that it can't be duplicated. We often take time for granted because it's a constant, relentless force that moves forward, seemingly unaffected by our actions. But this perception can be dangerous. If we don't recognize time's true value, we risk spending it on things that don't matter, only realizing too late that we've squandered it. The danger is not in the big decisions we make, but in the little choices, moments we think we can afford to waste. Those moments accumulate, and before we know it, they shape the course of our lives. This non-renewable nature of time is what makes procrastination such a destructive habit. Every time we delay or put off tasks, we are wasting time that could have been spent making progress. It's easy to justify putting things off with the belief that there's always tomorrow. But tomorrow, like today, is a finite resource. If we continue to postpone, we end up with nothing but regrets about what could have been. Time's non-renewable nature also means that it doesn't matter how old you are. Whether you're young or elderly, you have the same 24 hours each day. It's not about the number of years you've lived, but how you've used your time within those years. Some people accomplish great things in what seems like a short time, while others spend decades stuck in routines that don't add value. The difference is how each person chooses to spend their time, intentionally or wastefully. When we waste time, we not only lose opportunities to grow and achieve our goals, but we also lose out on the potential joys and connections we could experience in life. Time with loved ones, time to pursue passions, time to relax and recharge. These are all things that can enrich our lives. Wasting time doesn't just mean sitting idle. It can also mean neglecting what truly matters. Whether that's self-care, building relationships, or working towards personal ambitions. The realization that time is non-renewable should drive us to act with greater purpose. We don't have the luxury of time forever, so we must use what we have wisely. Each day is an opportunity to move closer to our goals, build meaningful connections, and live a life that reflects our values. The fact that time is non-renewable pushes us to stop procrastinating and to make decisions now that will shape our futures. In the grand scheme of things, it's easy to underestimate the weight of time. We often think that there's always a chance to do things later, that we'll have more time in the future. But the truth is, we never know what tomorrow holds. Waiting for the perfect moment can lead to missed opportunities. We must realize that the time to act is always now, and once a moment is gone, there's no way to bring it back. That's why it's so critical to value time for what it is, non-renewable, finite, and irreplaceable. How you spend your time today is shaping the legacy you will leave behind tomorrow. Legacy isn't just about monumental achievements or famous accomplishments. It's about the daily choices you make, the relationships you cultivate, and the impact you have on others over time. Legacy is created through consistent effort, discipline, and intentional actions. Let's see. Fair. Every decision you make about how to spend your time contributes to the person you are becoming and the mark you leave on the world. Think about the people who have left a lasting impression on you. Chances are they didn't just show up in your life once in a while. They made a consistent effort to be there, whether through words, actions, or both. They invested their time in you, and that investment is what built the foundation of your relationship with them. It's the same for your own legacy. It's the same for your own legacy. The more time you dedicate to what truly matters, the people, values, and causes you believe in, the more you are building a legacy that will outlast your physical presence. Legacy doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of intentional time management. It's the result of intention. If you want to be remembered for the right reasons, you must prioritize your time wisely. Do you spend your time building your career, helping others, or pursuing your passions? Or do you squander time on things that won't matter in the long run? Run. Every moment you spend on what aligns with your purpose and values is a moment invested in the legacy you wish to leave behind. The legacy you build also impacts future generations. Think about the lessons, values, and behaviors you pass down to your children, your students, or even your community. That's it. Your use of time directly influences what those around you will learn and carry forward. If you waste time on trivial matters, you risk teaching others that their time is not important either. But if you dedicate time to learning, growing, and teaching, you're creating a ripple effect that will carry your influence far beyond your lifetime. Legacy is about influence. The more time you spend cultivating relationships and providing value to others, the greater your influence will be. You're not only building your own story, you're helping to write the stories of those around you. The time you give to others, whether through mentoring, support, or even simple acts of kindness, can have a profound impact on their lives. What you choose to invest your time in will echo long after you're gone. One of the most powerful aspects of time and legacy is that it allows you to leave behind something greater than yourself. We often think of legacy in terms of fame or fortune, but in reality, your legacy is defined by the way you affect others. Did you lift them up? Did you challenge them to grow? Did you make their lives better in some way? The time you spend shaping the lives of others is what will be remembered, not necessarily the material wealth or recognition you might have acquired. Legacy also involves the way you use your time to advance causes that are bigger than your own personal goals. Think about the leaders, activists, and innovators throughout history who dedicated their time to making the world a better place. They didn't waste their time on fleeting distractions. They focused on what could make a lasting difference. When you spend time working toward causes that align with your values, whether that's social justice, environmental conservation, or innovation, you are creating a legacy that transcends your own life. The time you spend on your personal development also plays a significant role in your legacy. The knowledge, skills, and wisdom you acquire through continuous learning are the tools you can use to influence the world around you. When you prioritize time for self-growth, you not only improve your own life, but also become better equipped to help others. Personal development is a critical part of leaving a legacy of wisdom and strength, and it requires consistent dedication over time. In the end, your legacy is not just a final chapter in your life. It's a continuous story written over the course of years. Every choice, every action, and every moment spent in alignment with your values and goals contributes to that story. Time is what allows you to build this legacy, one day at a time. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity to leave a mark. It's about making the most of each moment you're given and using it to make a lasting impact on the world around you. Procrastination is one of the most insidious ways we waste time, often without even realizing it. It's easy to justify putting things off, thinking we'll get to them later, or that we work better under pressure. But the truth is, procrastination doesn't just delay tasks. Each time we procrastinate, we trade the opportunity for growth, success, and fulfillment for temporary comfort or avoidance. The habit of procrastination is often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, or fear of making the wrong decision. We put things off because we feel overwhelmed or unsure of where to start, thinking that waiting will somehow make it easier. However, the longer we delay, the bigger the task becomes in our minds, and the harder it feels to take that first step. In reality, waiting only exacerbates the problem, making it seem more daunting and insurmountable than it actually is. One of the reasons procrastination steals so much time is that it doesn't just affect the task at hand. It creates a ripple effect. When we put off one thing, it often leads to a domino effect where other tasks pile up, creating even more stress and anxiety. This results in wasted time spent on worrying about all the things we haven't done, instead of focusing on taking action. The more we procrastinate, the more time we waste in mental clutter, distracting us from the present moment and from what's truly important. Procrastination also feeds into a cycle of self-doubt and guilt. We know we're not making progress, and that knowledge weighs heavily on us. The longer we delay, the more we beat ourselves up for not taking action. This self-inflicted guilt only wastes more time, as it keeps us stuck in a negative loop of inaction and regret. Rather than addressing the root cause of procrastination, whether it's fear, lack of motivation, or poor planning, we simply add to the problem by spiraling into a cycle of unproductive thoughts and feelings. One of the most dangerous things about procrastination is that it's often disguised as productivity. We might convince ourselves that we're being productive by doing smaller, less important tasks, all while avoiding the bigger, more challenging ones. We feel busy, but we're not making any real progress toward our goals. This type of pseudo-productivity gives us the illusion that we're working hard, when in fact, we're just avoiding what really matters. It's easy to get caught up in this trap, thinking that staying busy is the same as being effective. The impact of procrastination extends beyond our work and personal goals. It can strain relationships and opportunities as well. When we delay decisions or put off commitments, we risk disappointing others and damaging our credibility. Whether it's missing deadlines at work, failing to show up for friends or family, or not following through on promises, procrastination can erode trust and harm our reputation. In these cases, it's not just our time that's affected. The people around us also bear the consequences of our delay. Breaking free from procrastination requires us to confront the underlying reasons why we avoid taking action. Sometimes we procrastinate because we're unsure of the next step or feel overwhelmed by the scope of the task. Other times, it's simply a matter of poor time management or a lack of motivation. Identifying the root causes of procrastination is the first step toward overcoming it. Once we recognize what's holding us back, we can take specific actions to address it, whether that means breaking tasks into smaller steps, setting clearer deadlines, or finding ways to boost our motivation. A powerful way to combat procrastination is by creating a sense of urgency. When we give ourselves deadlines and set clear goals, we remove the option to delay. Procrastination thrives in an environment where there are no immediate consequences for inaction. By holding ourselves accountable and establishing firm timeframes, we create a structure that makes it harder to put things off. This structure not only helps us take action, but also gives us a sense of accomplishment as we complete tasks on time. Finally, it's important to recognize that procrastination is not just about avoiding tasks. It's also about avoiding the discomfort of starting something new. Taking that first step often feels like the hardest part, but once we begin, the task usually becomes easier. By embracing the discomfort and acknowledging that we won't always feel ready to begin, we can break the cycle of procrastination. Each time we push through the resistance and take action, we build momentum that makes it easier to continue moving forward. Procrastination steals our time, but by understanding its roots and learning how to overcome it, we can reclaim our most valuable resource. Every minute that passes is an opportunity that can never be recaptured. Yet, many of us live our lives as if we have an endless supply of time. We procrastinate, get distracted, or waste time without truly understanding the impact of each passing second. In reality, the minutes that slip away are the building blocks of our future. How we choose to use them determines not only what we achieve, but who we become. Every minute counts. Whether we're working on a goal, enjoying time with loved ones, or even resting, the question is, are we making the most of them? We often underestimate the value of a minute because it seems small and insignificant on its own. True. But when you think about it, a minute can accumulate quickly into something substantial. Just consider how many minutes are in an hour, how many hours are in a day, and how many days are in a year. If we waste several minutes here and there throughout the day, they can add up to a large chunk of time lost over a longer period. Time has a cumulative effect, and this is why it's essential to treat each minute with respect and purpose. The difference between those who accomplish their goals and those who don't often boils down to how they manage their time, especially the smaller moments. High achievers understand that success is built 1 minute at a time. They don't wait for big blocks of free time to work on their dreams. They seize the minutes, using even small pockets of time to take steps toward their objectives. Every minute, whether spent brainstorming, networking, learning, or creating, contributes to the long-term results they're working toward. This mindset of utilizing every minute can make a world of difference in achieving success. Yes. In contrast, when we allow time to slip through our fingers, we waste valuable opportunities for growth and productivity. Instead of using those moments for something productive, we often find ourselves distracted by things that won't help us move forward. Whether it's aimlessly scrolling through social media, watching TV, or engaging in trivial conversations, these distractions seem harmless at first. But when they accumulate, they steal time that could have been spent on personal development, building relationships, or working toward goals. Even more importantly, every minute is an opportunity to make choices that align with your values and vision. The way you spend your time reveals your priorities. If you're spending your minutes on things that don't contribute to your personal or professional growth, you're not honoring your potential. Conversely, when you make conscious decisions about how to use your time, you're aligning your actions with your intentions, creating a life that reflects your true desires and purpose. Time is also a finite resource, which makes every minute even more precious. You can't add more time to your day. No matter how much you wish for more hours or extra minutes, the clock will continue to tick forward. That's why it's crucial to avoid wasting time on things that don't serve us, as it will never come back. When you view every minute as valuable, it changes the way you approach tasks, goals, and relationships. For example, consider how you approach conversations with others. If you understand that time is precious, you're likely to be more present, more engaged, and more intentional with your interactions. You'll listen more attentively, speak with more purpose, and create stronger connections. 4. Every moment spent with others becomes meaningful because you're fully invested in it, recognizing that it's an opportunity to build something meaningful. The way we use our time also affects our mental and emotional well-being. When we waste time, it can lead to feelings of guilt, stress, and frustration. We know that we could have used the time better, and this knowledge can weigh on us. On the other hand, when we use our time wisely, we experience a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. We feel in control of our lives, knowing that we're making progress, building relationships, and investing in what truly matters. Every minute spent on meaningful activities brings us closer to a fulfilling and purposeful life. Ultimately, the small, seemingly insignificant moments are what define our lives. It's not always the grand gestures or the big achievements that matter the most, but the consistent use of our time in ways that bring us closer to our values and aspirations. Each minute you spend intentionally is a building block in your journey toward the life you want to create. Whether it's dedicating time to your health, your career, or your personal relationships, every minute counts in shaping your future. 4.
Time is the one resource that doesn't discriminate. Whether you are rich or poor, famous or unknown, young or old, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. It doesn't matter what your background is, where you come from, or what opportunities you've been given. Time is the ultimate equalizer. No amount of wealth or social status can buy more time, and no amount of power can make it slow down. In this sense, time is the great leveler of human existence, offering each of us an equal shot at shaping our lives, regardless of external circumstances. The concept that time is an equalizer is both liberating and humbling. On one hand, it means that no matter where you start in life, you have the same basic unit of time to work with as anyone else. If you make wise decisions about how to use your time, you can overcome obstacles, rise from difficult situations, and achieve greatness. On the other hand, it also serves as a reminder that in the grand scheme of things, time is limited and precious for everyone. It doesn't matter how much we accumulate in terms of money or possessions. We all face the same finite clock ticking away, relentlessly moving forward. Time's impartiality can also be seen in how it impacts everyone equally. People often say that wealth can buy freedom, and in some ways that's true. Having more money may provide greater access to opportunities, resources, and experiences. However, money can't buy more time. A billionaire cannot extend the number of hours in a day. A famous actor cannot pause the passage of time. The hands of the clock move forward for all of us, regardless of how much influence or control we believe we have over other areas of our lives. This equality in time emphasizes that how we choose to spend it is what ultimately separates people. Two individuals might have the same 24 hours, but what they do with that time can result in dramatically different outcomes. One person might choose to waste time on distractions and procrastination, while another might use that time to invest in personal growth, relationships, or the pursuit of meaningful goals. The distinction isn't about the resources at their disposal, it's about their choices. Time, when used wisely, has the power to transform anyone's life, regardless of their starting point. One of the most fascinating aspects of time as an equalizer is that it offers opportunities for growth and redemption. No matter how far behind you may feel in life, as long as you have time, you have a chance to change your circumstances. Time can be used to learn new skills, build new habits, and work toward the life you envision. Even if you've made mistakes in the past, the equalizing power of time means that you can still create a future that reflects your potential. It is never too late to start using time in a way that brings you closer to your goals. However, while time may be equal for all, how we perceive it can vary greatly. Some people are aware of time's value and live with a sense of urgency, making every moment count. Others, however, take time for granted, thinking they have an abundance of it and that they can always catch up later. The difference in outcomes often comes down to awareness. Those who understand time's value make choices that align with their long-term aspirations, while those who take it for granted often find themselves regretting wasted years. Time is also a leveler in that it forces all of us to confront our mortality. Whether you live for 50 years or 100 years, time will eventually run out. No one is immune to this truth. This universal experience of time's passage brings a level of equality that is undeniable. It reminds us that, regardless of how different our lives may seem, we all share the same end, a limited amount of time on this earth. Understanding this can be both a sobering and motivating realization, pushing us to make the most of the time we have. The fact that time is the ultimate equalizer also speaks to the importance of legacy. At the end of our lives, it won't matter how much money we amassed, how many awards we won, or how famous we became. What will matter is how we used our time and the impact we had on others. Did we spend time with those we loved? Did we use our time to serve others, contribute to our communities, or pursue passions that gave us joy? Time's equalizing power means that we all have the potential to leave behind a legacy, not based on status or wealth, but on how we chose to spend our time. Finally, time as the ultimate equalizer teaches us that there's no such thing as more time in the future. We only have the present moment. Some people may have more opportunities than others, but everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. It's how we use that time that determines the trajectory of our lives. This truth can be empowering, as it means that the power to create change, pursue dreams, and build a meaningful life is within our hands. If we choose to respect time and use it wisely, the clock is always ticking, and how we choose to spend our minutes and hours makes all the difference. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the demands of daily life and lose sight of what truly matters. We often find ourselves pulled in multiple directions, responding to emails, attending meetings, handling errands, and trying to meet various expectations. Yet, when we don't make conscious choices about where to focus our time, we end up spending it on things that may not align with our long-term goals or values. Prioritizing what matters most is crucial to living a fulfilling and meaningful life. Prioritizing involves making intentional decisions about what is most important to you and aligning your actions with those priorities. This means taking a step back to assess your goals, your values, and your vision for the future. What are the things that truly matter in your life? What will bring you the most satisfaction and fulfillment? By answering these questions, you can create a roadmap for your life that guides your time, attention, and energy toward the things that matter most to you. One of the key aspects of prioritization is learning to say no. We live in a society that often values busyness and productivity, and it can be hard to turn down opportunities, requests, or obligations. However, saying yes to everything can spread you too thin and prevent you from dedicating enough time to what really matters. Learning to say no is an essential skill in protecting your time and ensuring that you don't get distracted by things that are not aligned with your core priorities. Prioritization also involves distinguishing between urgency and importance. Not everything that demands your attention is truly important. Many tasks may seem urgent: emails, phone calls, social media notifications, and other distractions, but they don't necessarily contribute to your long-term goals or values. Recognizing this difference can help you shift your focus toward the things that are genuinely important. When you prioritize important tasks over merely urgent ones, you create space for the things that will have a lasting impact on your life. To effectively prioritize, it's helpful to break down your priorities into categories. Start by considering the major areas of your life, such as health, relationships, career, personal development, and leisure, and decide which of these areas need the most attention at any given time. There will be times when one area requires more focus, such as when you're working on a major project at work, while other times you might need to prioritize your health or your relationships. Understanding how to balance these areas and shift priorities as needed is a key part of living a well-rounded and fulfilling life. Prioritizing what matters most also involves taking a long-term perspective. It's easy to get caught up in short-term gains or immediate gratification, but real fulfillment comes from focusing on long-term goals and values. Short-term distractions can often appear appealing, but they rarely contribute to the larger picture of who you want to be or what you want to achieve. By keeping your long-term vision in mind, you're better able to make decisions that move you closer to your ultimate goals, rather than succumbing to the temptations of the moment. One powerful way to prioritize is by setting clear and specific goals. When you have well-defined goals, it becomes much easier to determine where your time and effort should be directed. Without clear goals, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of tasks or responsibilities that demand your attention. By identifying what you want to achieve and breaking those goals down into actionable steps, you can ensure that every action you take aligns with what truly matters. Clear goals act as a compass, helping you stay on track despite the distractions that inevitably arise. Another key to prioritization is regularly evaluating how you're spending your time. It's easy to fall into routines or habits that don't serve our goals, and sometimes we don't realize how much time we're wasting on things that don't matter. Periodically assessing how you're using your time and whether it aligns with your priorities can provide valuable insight. This evaluation might lead you to cut back on certain activities, adjust your schedule, or delegate tasks that are not the best use of your energy. Being mindful of how you spend your time helps you stay focused on what's truly important. Finally, prioritizing what matters most requires self-discipline and consistency. It's not enough to simply decide what's important. You have to consistently choose to invest your time in those priorities. There will always be distractions, obstacles, and competing demands on your time. However, if you're committed to making progress on your goals and living in alignment with your values, you must make the conscious choice every day to focus on what matters. This level of commitment requires discipline, but the rewards are immense. A life that is meaningful, purpose-driven, and aligned with your deepest desires. In today's digital age, distractions are everywhere. Our phones, social media, emails, and even the constant barrage of notifications from apps and websites keep us hooked and fragmented throughout the day. We've become so accustomed to these distractions that they have become a natural part of our lives, often without us realizing how much time they're consuming. We think we're multitasking or staying connected, but in reality, we're wasting valuable time that could be spent on more productive, meaningful activities. One of the most common distractions we face is our smartphones. With their constant pinging and beeping, it's easy to get sucked into checking notifications, scrolling through social media, or responding to messages that don't require immediate attention. These interruptions might seem harmless at first, but they quickly add up. Studies show that people check their phones an average of 150 times a day, and each time we break our focus, it can take several minutes to regain concentration. This cycle of distraction not only wastes time, but also diminishes our productivity and ability to focus. Social media is another major time waster that many of us struggle with. While it can be a great tool for staying connected with friends, family, and current events, it's also a breeding ground for endless scrolling and comparison. We get caught up in looking at other people's posts, comparing ourselves to their highlight reels, and spending hours online, often without any specific purpose. Before we know it, hours have passed, and we realize that we've spent more time scrolling than engaging in activities that could actually benefit our personal or professional growth. Similarly, the constant barrage of emails and messages can distract us from the tasks that truly matter. We've all been there, checking our inbox every few minutes, responding to messages as soon as they arrive, and losing track of the larger projects or goals we were working on. While responding to emails is important, it's often done at the expense of focusing on deep work or meaningful activities. Constantly jumping from one email to another can prevent us from entering a state of flow, where we can be truly productive and creative. Another distraction that wastes time is the constant need for external validation. Many of us spend time seeking approval or affirmation from others, whether through social media likes, comments, or even seeking praise at work or in our personal relationships. While seeking validation is a natural human instinct, when it becomes a constant distraction, it pulls our attention away from what's important and keeps us in a cycle of seeking external approval. The time spent worrying about what others think or trying to gain their approval is time that could be spent building self-confidence and focusing on our own goals. In addition to digital distractions, physical clutter and disorganization can also waste time. When we're surrounded by piles of paperwork, unorganized spaces, or even a cluttered schedule, it becomes difficult to focus and be productive. We waste time looking for things, trying to manage tasks that we haven't organized, or simply feeling overwhelmed by the chaos around us. By addressing these distractions, whether through cleaning up our physical space or better managing our time, we can eliminate unnecessary stress and free up time to focus on what truly matters. Distractions can also be internal, such as our own negative thoughts, doubts, or fears. When we let these mental distractions take over, we waste time worrying about things that may never happen or ruminating on past mistakes. These thoughts can derail our focus and prevent us from taking action toward our goals. Overcoming these mental distractions often requires self-awareness and the ability to shift our mindset. Instead of getting caught up in unproductive thoughts, we can train ourselves to focus on solutions, take action, and move forward with clarity. The habit of constantly checking for distractions is also reinforced by a culture that values constant busyness and multitasking. We've been conditioned to believe that the more we do at once, the more productive we are. But in reality, multitasking often leads to reduced efficiency and more mistakes. The more we try to do at once, the more likely we are to become distracted and lose focus. Focusing on one task at a time and eliminating unnecessary distractions can help us be more productive and achieve higher quality results in less time. Breaking free from distractions requires conscious effort and intention. We need to develop a clear sense of what our priorities are and set boundaries around distractions that don't align with those priorities. This might mean setting specific times to check emails or social media, turning off notifications during work hours, or creating a designated space for focused work. By minimizing distractions and training ourselves to stay focused on the tasks at hand, we can reclaim the time that would otherwise be lost to these unproductive interruptions. It's easy to put things off, to tell ourselves that we'll start tomorrow, next week, or when the right time comes. This habit of postponing action is common, and it often stems from the belief that we need to wait for the perfect moment or a more convenient time to begin. The truth, however, is that tomorrow never comes. Waiting for the ideal moment can lead to perpetual procrastination, which means that our dreams, goals, and potential remain unrealized. The key to moving forward is simple: start today, not tomorrow. Procrastination is often driven by fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, or fear of not knowing where to start. These fears can paralyze us and keep us stuck in a cycle of inaction. We think that by waiting for tomorrow, we'll somehow find the courage or the clarity we need to take the first step. However, the act of starting, even if it's imperfect, is what creates momentum and opens the door to growth. The longer we delay, the further we get from our goals. But by choosing to start today, no matter how small the step, we are taking a tangible action toward our future. One of the biggest barriers to starting today is the myth of perfectionism. We often think that we need to have everything figured out before we begin, whether it's a business plan, a fitness regimen, or a personal project. We wait until the conditions are perfect, until we have all the resources, all the information, and all the confidence we need. But perfectionism keeps us in a state of inaction. The reality is that we will never have everything lined up perfectly. The most successful people are those who start with what they have and adjust along the way. The key is to begin, even if it's messy, and refine as you go. Starting today also means overcoming the habit of waiting for external factors to change. We often convince ourselves that we'll be able to start when our schedule clears up, when we get a raise, or when the circumstances are more favorable. But the truth is that there will always be challenges, and if we wait for the perfect conditions, we may never take action. Life will always present distractions, obstacles, and reasons to delay. Instead of waiting for the ideal moment, take action now and figure things out as you move forward. Starting today allows you to take control of your circumstances instead of waiting for them to change on their own. Another reason we tend to delay action is because we overestimate how much time we have. We often believe that we can always start tomorrow, but the reality is that time passes quickly. days, weeks, months, and even years can slip away without us noticing. If we keep putting things off, we risk waking up one day and realizing that we've spent too much time waiting and not enough time doing. By making the decision to start today, we stop letting time slip through our fingers. The sooner we begin, the sooner we can begin to make progress, and the more time we'll have to refine and improve as we go along. Starting today is also a powerful way to build momentum. The first step is always the hardest, but once you begin, even in a small way, you start to build energy and enthusiasm for your goal. Momentum is a force that propels you forward. Each action you take, no matter how small, makes the next step easier. It's like pushing a boulder uphill. The first push is the hardest, but once it starts rolling, it gains speed and becomes easier to manage. When you start today, you create that initial momentum that helps you keep going, even when challenges arise. One of the most compelling reasons to start today is the impact it has on your mindset. The simple act of beginning shifts your attitude from one of waiting and indecision to one of action and empowerment. It builds confidence, knowing that you are capable of taking charge of your life and your future. Starting today also helps break the cycle of procrastination, which can often lead to feelings of guilt and regret. By choosing to act now, you eliminate the weight of unfulfilled potential, allowing you to feel a sense of accomplishment and progress. Starting today also means embracing the fact that you don't have to be perfect to begin. Perfectionism often paralyzes us, preventing us from taking that first step. However, when we start today, we give ourselves permission to make mistakes, learn along the way, and improve as we go. Every mistake is an opportunity to grow and adjust, and each day of action builds on the previous one. Instead of waiting for everything to align perfectly, we embrace the imperfections and trust that the process of starting is what will lead us to success in the end. Finally, starting today creates a sense of urgency. When we put things off, we tend to believe we have endless time to get things done. But starting today forces us to take action now, to prioritize what's important, and to dedicate the necessary effort toward achieving our goals. The urgency of starting today helps eliminate distractions, focus our energy, and heighten our commitment to the task at hand. It eliminates the temptation to procrastinate and encourages us to make the most of every moment. In the end, the most important thing is to simply start. Waiting for the right time, for everything to fall into place, or for the perfect conditions will only delay your progress. Starting today, no matter how small the action, is the key to turning your goals into reality. The more you practice starting today, the easier it becomes, and the more you will realize that the best time to take action is always right now.